Hello, and welcome to episode 142 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all of the things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and joining me this week on Planet Funkatron is Shawn
Hello.
and Harrison.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm at
So
GameStop
late.
today.
Uh,
If you can see me on video, yes, I had to work late, so they said I could record in here, and it's fine. It's all
Harrison,
normal.
we need you to come in for the midnight launch of the Pokemon game. So
Yeah, it already happened. But if you're looking for some loose 3DS games, they're in that DK barrel right behind me, right over here. You can see it. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like two for 30.
Mm.
that's
I
a
was just telling
bargain.
Harrison before we started recording, Shawn, you'll remember this too. I remember back when well, it's GameStop now, but it was probably Funco Land at the time. You'd go in the back and there was a bin of Super Nintendo games and they were all like $5. I think the most expensive one would be like 10 bucks. And that was when I started collecting retro games because it was a cheaper alternative. Now it's like pretty much the same price or more if you're trying to get anything worth playing from back in the day.
That
Yep.
barrel there is actual 1990s retail price, but you can pick whatever you like.
Mhm. In fact, one of the first things, we did, our first ever podcast, I had a segment called Discount Gaming, and it was because if you played older games, it was cheaper, and that is no longer the case.
Yeah, and there was competition
Sometimes it is,
also.
though.
Yeah, there was competition there because I remember I don't know when they popped up other places, but we had Slackers. Like we had that store pop up, and then
Mhm.
they
Yep.
had even more
We
used
had
retro
Electronic
games.
Boutique. I don't know if everyone had
Mm,
that.
yep, that was the other one.
Yeah.
EB Games.
I remember buying like Dreamcast games right after the Dreamcast was discontinued, and the price
Yep.
just like shot down a whole bunch. I was like, "That's cool. It's a great time to get a Dreamcast right after they said we're not making it anymore."
Yeah, I think that's when I got Power Stone on the Dreamcast, which
Oh,
was,
nice.
credit like the just before Smash Brothers, game. And then Smash Brothers changed everything. So what's going on, guys? How's your gaming week been? Been playing anything interesting?
I'm still hacking away at Hades. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Okay.
the Spotlight game. So
and
Yeah, I
you
played some Galaxy 2. I gotta say, I agree with still everything I said last week about like now that I see the difference between the Odyssey style and the Galaxy style, but also the more I play of Galaxy 2, the more obvious it is that it's made up of leftovers from Galaxy. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just like I see now why Nintendo rarely makes direct sequels to Mario games. It's because
uh-huh.
it gives you this feeling of like, well, I didn't really get something new, you know?
Does two have the weird cloud power?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was thinking when you were like leftovers, like, well, we didn't do anything with that cloud thing. It's got Yoshi. That's true. It has Yoshi, so the cloud thing will be fine.
Yeah, it's just I don't know why it bugs me that so much is reused. Like it's the same animation for like when you go into a level, the same animation for the stars. Like it's like I don't know. I get that it's a sequel, but I wish they changed it up just like 10% more. You know, like get a little bit different than the first game.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, though the Switch versions aren't going to be comparable anyway, but I can't remember if
Same
the motion
comet
controls
gimmick,
were.
like when the comets would come and you get the purple coins, like, I don't know, it's
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
if you played the first game, you don't need anything explained in the second game. It's all the same stuff.
I can't remember if the motion controls were better in two when it originally came out. Like if the Wiimote Plus or whatever had been out by that point. But
Yeah, hard to
yeah,
say.
I probably should, you know, somehow find it on sale and jump in it. But
Yeah, I'm
do
not
do
trying to
you
knock it.
find
It's a great game. It's like
no, it's a really
I'm
good
having a
game.
lot of fun with it. It's just that's my observation for the week.
Do you feel like Yoshi makes the game easier, or am I just crazy?
No, I don't think
No?
so. Yeah,
Okay.
no, and if anything, he gets kind of aggravating at certain points.
And Sean,
How about
you
you, Harrison? What have you been up to?
um I well, I've been busy this week, but I've been playing a lot of different things, whether it's for here or my other channel, and games I've been playing that are on Switch. Well, been playing quite a bit of Stardew when I can, and when I was injured, that was a good game to play. And then what else? Brotato is the roguelike that I'm playing. It seems like right now I'm always cycling through like at least one roguelike. That's good. That's a good thing. Because sometimes I don't get to play until like 9 p.m. or
Yeah.
10 p.m. perhaps. So I only have like a little bit of time. I don't want to like jump into something where I'm like really focused on it. I can play one game and
Yep.
kind of move on. Uh and Disco Elysium is another one I've been playing. I think sure it's available on Switch. I'm like
Yeah,
10
it's
years late on
on
that
Switch.
game. And it's fantastic. I'm only like 5 hours into it, but man, what a interesting the dialogue in that game makes me really think that the human race against AI is going to be okay. Because that game is so unique in its dialogue that yeah, I mean you could teach an AI how to do that, I think, but um I I truly believe that like it required a lot of human touch, and it's so beyond like anything that I could have ever imagined when it comes to like character
That's a
development.
really I love the inner monologue in that game, especially like when you're starting and you build the character.
Yeah.
The game's like kind of making fun of you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good game.
it goes so much more beyond the angel devil thing. Like there's like
Yep.
so many things that are going on in your mind that you're yeah, it's just it's kind of blowing me away that like I'm so used to playing games like this dang Pokemon game that's out where it's like there's no voice acting or it's just so shallow. It's such an afterthought. Oh, and Sean, so you reached Hades, but you didn't defeat him yet. Or did you
So
reach Hades?
I've reached him about 4 times. Uh, Stupidly thinking he wouldn't have a second phase.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so I have not been
Yeah, I
able to
would
beat
love
the
to get an
second
end
phase.
boss nowadays that's just one phase. Like it would be such a
Well,
rarity.
I beat him and I went, "Oh, I did it!" And then he's like, "Ah," and I'm like, "Of course you have a second phase. I should know this from now. I've played enough Souls games."
Yeah.
Probably a third
But
phase.
oh, don't say that, man. That would be awful. But no, I'm enjoying it, and Hades has an interesting God mode. So I'm playing with God mode on now, which apparently only once I've got it all the way up, only will go up to 80% less damage. So it's not even like a true God mode, but
R-
it does like 2% each time you die on a run. So I'm at like 30% less damage right now or something. But once I realized it wasn't like a cheat, basically, I was like, oh, okay. So
Right. That's a great example of a game that it will not criticize you at all for using it. The only thing that I would change is that I wish there was an option on God mode that when you win a run, it scales down because it'll never scale back down once you start winning.
okay.
But there's other things that you can add or you can take off God mode just altogether. But yeah, I really enjoy. I play it with it on, with it off, just depending on how I wanted to play. But that's how I how I think I first learned. And yeah, and I love the relationship with Zagreus and Hades, or just Zagreus
Yeah.
overall. He's just like this little. He's tough. He's like this like little short guy, and he's like got daddy issues and mommy issues, and like once you start, if you stay with the game, once you start beating him, after that first phase, you're like, all right, Dad, come on, Dad, get up. Like, yeah, I know you
I
got a
just
second
like
fate. It's like,
when you get to that, even if you fail it and they dump you back at the main hub, he's not at the desk because he's still out where he beat you. So he hasn't come back.
yeah. eh,
It's just a nice little detail they didn't even need to do. So
Yeah, there's tons of little details they put in the game, and then if you get through the game fast enough, like on the first or second or third run, not enough of the main area is open, so you're kind of like ahead of the game. Like I did it on run 2 one time. I just got really really lucky, and like the main area isn't even open yet. So I thought that was really funny. And there's videos online of people doing it in their first run, and those people are just insane, or they get like really good RNG. That
yeah.
was my case.
RN
Um,
Jesus is my co-pilot.
yeah.
So
And he's
speaking of roguelites, though, one of the OGs of the genre was in the news this week. So
yes.
yeah, ToeJam and Earl. Apparently, they're in the early planning stages of a new ToeJam and Earl game. The quote says, I can say that a new game is in the planning stage, Johnson replied. We intend to make it happen. It's going to be developed by a third party design led by the infamous and talented producer of Back in the Groove. Uh, Nap and I, oh, sorry. Uh, why is it saying that? I don't know. It'll be a combo of games. It'll be a combo of games 1 and 2 and incorporate some of the design ideas of the original game 2 that never got made. So, kind of a Mario Galaxy 2 thing going on there. They're gonna use some unused, ideas. So, yeah, I don't know, and they also briefly hinted at a movie being in development, but, like, I don't have any faith in any of that stuff until I start seeing a cast, you know what I mean? Like, so many franchises out there, basically anything we grew up with has been rumored to have a movie at some point, so, till I see a cast, I'm not giving any credence to that. But the
I
game, yeah.
Yeah, the game, that's great. The movie, I don't know if there's enough of an audience for that. I mean,
Yeah,
it'd be great, but you're not gonna have a if you're gonna do a movie, it's going straight to streaming. I can't see them getting a theatrical release.
That's fine.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. And
Um
that would be perfectly okay.
Yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of Back in the Groove. Like it's good for what it is, but like honestly, I feel like it was very unambitious. It was like you said, like kind of just a remaster of the original game. And I don't know, even down to like it there's just something about it that does kind of seem cheaply made too. Like the walk cycles are a little weird. The characters don't seem to stand on the environment properly. I don't know. There's just like something a little off about it. So hopefully they've gotten more familiar with their development process because I don't know, maybe it was intentional to look that way, but there was just something a little off about the look of Back in the Groove to me. And I did not feel that way about ToeJam Earl 3 all the way when that came out on Xbox. That was a complete, like, modern version of ToeJam and Earl for me, so and it doesn't sound like they wanna do that. It sounds like they wanna
Yeah.
make another cheap, game where they mix up the gameplay a little bit, so I don't know. I'm getting kind of fatigued with all these things that stood on their own for decades and then all of a sudden are getting follow-ups, you know what I mean? Stuff we grew up with. So
Yeah. I,
it's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm a big Toe Jam fan, and even I am kind of cautious about it. So that's probably not a good sign.
I would
I
like to
mean, Back
add.
in the Groove I enjoyed, but once we beat it once, I've never gone back to it. I've gone back to the original ToeJam and Earl still.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that quality to it, but we'll see once they have something to show. Because
Mhm.
hopefully it gets past the planning stages. Because with where the industry is right now, who knows? But I'm
Well, yeah,
hoping they.
Back in the Groove was crowdfunded, and even that,
Yeah.
it was in development forever. I feel like that game was in, over 5 years, maybe more. Like, it took forever for that game to come out.
So
I
we'll
would
see. I'm
like
hoping they
to
have a new spin.
add context with to this though, that this is an interview that he did in promotion of another game that's about to be released. So this is him doing an interview, and then the interview going, "Hey, what about ToeJam and Earl?" You know,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's not to say that it's nothing, but being in development or having thoughts of development, I mean, there's a lot of different meanings to this also. But at the same time, um, the interview to me was also like, hey, check out my new game, that's also on Kickstarter. Um,
Right.
So, update, Back in the Groove was in development for 5 years. It was announced in March of 2015, and obviously they had been working on it up to that point, and then it wasn't released until March of 2019, so that's why it felt like forever. I knew about that game for 4 years before it came out. That's crazy, but it happens sometimes. Look at Metroid Dread.
yeah, I hope it does. I hope it does.
And Metroid Prime 4 for that matter.
Like I've been
Yeah.
wondering.
I'm all for more ToeJam and Earl. So hopefully it
Yeah.
happens.
I've been wondering where it is, because with how people just bust out roguelikes and
Mm.
Mhm.
survivor likes and everything, like you could easily, even if you wanted to like have another company do it, make a survivors like ToeJam and Earl game. A game where they are just walking
Yeah,
around and they're
that
they're they're
happen.
attacking, but the only button you're using is just walking around and selecting your butts. Like that's it.
I
Um,
could see them transitioning to that genre pretty easily.
really easy. Like the first game isn't that far off from it.
I think I see exactly where this is going just based on how Back in the Groove was, though. I think it's gonna play mostly like the first game, and then there's gonna be, like, doorways on the world where you go into the door and it'll switch to side
Mhm.
scrolling, and they'll
That's
say,
cool.
"Alright, different enough, call it a day."
Yeah. Yeah,
But prove me wrong, guys. Make something crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Go all out.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. And yes, this developer has another game coming out on Steam pretty soon. It's on Kickstarter. Don't have the title, but looks pretty cool. um, so yeah,
Doki Doki Galaxy, because I think they made Doki Doki Universe is a game they made.
so yeah. What other should we do more news? We can talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Go
mean,
for it, man. This
good
is your time to
God.
shine.
the We're going to be talking about this Pokemon leak for years, like the leak of the century, which I think Nintendo is currently denying is real. I think I saw some. I don't know if that's a complete fact, but I'm just going to toss it out there like it is. But anyway, yeah, Pokemon had their plans for all the games up to 2030 leaked. DLC details leaked. A lot of stuff leaked. Potential remakes that they're considering. Those conversations got leaked. So what do you want to talk about first? This is a huge leak.
Well, I
This
guess.
is the dam has burst.
Well, I guess considering a lot of this is about the future, this leak is bigger than the one from a couple years ago. Although, like the size
Also, a
of.
lot of it though is like, I mean, a lot of it is solid stuff, but there's also a lot of stuff that's in there like we're considering, and it's like, well, they're probably considering tons of stuff.
Yeah.
So that That's not big on the leak list.
It's the same thing on that huge leak we got a couple years ago where we
Mhm.
saw all different types of concept art where like it would never be that Pokemon. They just take concept art and they just keep making it cuter and cuter and cuter and cuter until they get what they want. And the same thing with this leak, like every game they have, they'll just toss out names and they'll put it on a document. So like there's tons of names you'll see for like titles of games that you would never see for a Pokemon game. I don't know, Dragon and I don't know. Something else. I don't know. But uh yeah,
Elf.
I guess the
Dragon and
impact
elf.
I guess the impact of this leak and the fact that it does go up to 2030 or through 2030 does make it like maybe the biggest of all time. And I've said it on here before, you don't want to be a company where someone says biggest leak of all time because that just means your company gets data leaks a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
they've got the potential for the highest security and, they've got the income, I should say, to have the highest security. So it's crazy they've had 2 of these types of leaks recently when, like, I just consider some of the security I have at my job that nobody cares about. And it, none
yeah,
it's crazy.
and I don't know. I mean, I have a feeling that a lot of these hackers and leakers are like kids also, you know?
Mhm.
Like they're very smart kids, but they're also people that like kids that like have like a lot of time. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Like
Let me
I
ask
know
you something.
yeah.
So when you saw that this leak was a thing, was there anything you looked for to see if it was in there? Because to give you an example, I immediately combed through I guess bullet points to see if there was a Pokemon MMORPG still on the table, and there was no mention of that.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is?
Yes, there
I
is.
missed it.
We'll talk about it
All
though.
right, good. I want
We can
that to
go
happen. Make it happen, Nintendo.
we can go in order because
Oh, sure.
there's a lot of people there's been so much information that um even I was even listening to some videos this morning right before this show and there were some things that I missed as well. So Gen 10 was leaked. The title is Wind and Waves. It the cover art, the concept or the cover art looks very similar to me to like Scarlet and Violet. It's the
Mhm.
director is Shigeru Amori, who did Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet, and it is planned for around 2026. So that could mean
Mhm.
2027, and then DLC in 2027. Psh, why not just say DLC day one? Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, Wind and waves. So this is no surprise that we're taking things back to like the water and the sea, like all the other Nintendo games right now. It's going to take place in a resort region similar to Malaysia or Kuala Lumpur or Southeast Asia, rather. But the suggestion is that it's Kuala Lumpur is the city that they're basing it off of, which is super cool. Like, I mean, I live in Southeast Asia. I think that's super cool. And yeah, I think the story is that there's going to be a land development coordination corporation that is exploiting the nature, but not the Pokemon. But not the Pokemon, of course. You can't exploit the Pokemon, but they're exploiting the nature for profit, which is like, oh, like okay, that's good enough for a Pokemon story, I think. Like,
So
that,
basically, this is going to be the Pokemon Final Fantasy VII. It's Pokemon finally is answering that game all these decades later. Let's see how they do. Come on, call in Avalanche. I hope there's a group of terrorists in this game that is fighting the evil corporation draining the planet's energy.
So these islands are gonna have they're gonna be procedurally generated islands, which I'll speak about more at the end. I'll just kind of go through all of this. The code name was Nia, and there's gonna be a seed Pokemon system, which I don't really. understand. Like your Pokemon starts as a seed creature that evolves based on how you train the Pokemon. So this again sounds like a cool concept, but I'm not sure how fleshed out this is yet. And then your path is also procedurally generated as well. And then I don't know if you want to call it MMO, but it is going to have a like the resort is going to be like a hub area, which is going to act like a lobby where you can meet up and like do quests together, do exploration, do raid battles. And again, like um with the development of Legend ZA, which we talk about after, all of these could just be ideas or things they would like to do that will not be in the final game. So even though we have leaks, I think that's important to put as context. There will be 18 total bosses, and you can get to the final boss early, which was intriguing to me. Like
I
because
just hope they scale the Pokemon this time. That's what everyone wanted with Scarlet and Violet, and it just like it didn't make any sense for it to be open world if I'm gonna get destroyed if I go into that corner of the world. So I understand the bosses you have to keep at, a higher level, but yeah, I hope some of the open world enemies scale.
the hub might actually be the next game. Well, anyways, I'm almost done with Wind and Waves. Wind and Waves,
Okay.
right? So you could get to the final boss early, which I've been wanting forever. Um, like I hope it scales, but also like don't make it as linear. And sometimes you just want to get to the end of a Pokemon game in a playthrough. You just want to do like the shiny
Yeah.
hood thing and you just want to you just want to get to the end, especially if you're playing it if you want replayability. I think that's a good
Or
thing to have finally. And
It's like required in Arceus. Like half that game doesn't start until you roll the credits.
exactly. Exactly. And new engine. It's the name for it on here is Pokemon Engine X. So sure. I mean there's a lot of positives I can point towards. The roadmap we're looking at is Gen 10 sometime next year, but maybe 2027. Um 2027 or 2028, they're gonna have Pokemon the third Pokemon Legends game, which is Galar? Galar? It's set 1,000 years in the past, and it's inspired by Xenoblade Chronicles X. 2028 or possibly beyond that is that MMO we talked about, where you'll travel between different regions, and then Gen 11 is planned for 2030. Uh, the budgets have tripled since Scarlet and Violet, but honestly, you could probably do it times 100, and they would still make money off these games, you know. Um, but they did build a new engine. They do have a bigger budget. They are looking at some new ideas. And even in Pokemon Legends ZA, they incorporated some new ideas which are interesting, although I'm sure there's plenty of good criticisms about that game as well. So,
Well, I mean, I saw some gameplay this week that just made me sad where like somebody was walking up against like a flat building that just had like looked like Wile E. Coyote had painted like, when they paint the tunnel down it, it was like the windows and stuff. It was just like I'm like, "Oh man, this game has more of a budget than
yeah,
that. Come
well,
on."
let's do that next. I want to talk about
Okay.
ZA and the initial thoughts about that since none of us have played
Well,
it,
another
but
thing I just want to throw out there that I'm excited about in these leaks, if we're gonna stay on the leaks, is they mentioned potentially doing a black and white remake, which I would totally be on board for.
yeah, they're gonna
So bring that on.
yeah, that should be I'm surprised we didn't see that. That's something I would have
Yeah.
looked towards also. Yes. Um. So then, Sean, I'll pass it over to you. So, Sean, the question for both of you is: do we think Game Freak can actually pull off a new engine that runs smoothly on Switch 2? Keep in mind, the single player games have not done so good so far. So do we think a new engine and a multiplayer online game can be pulled off by Game Freak, or could they find someone else that could do it?
I feel like Game Freak might struggle with it because I know people are pleasantly surprised ZA runs well on Switch too. And I know it doesn't run so well on the other Switch, so yeah, I feel like you need to bring somebody else in if you're gonna do that because these guys maybe don't have the skill set. I'm I'm not a Pokemon guy. We've I tried Scarlet and jumped out really quick, but that's a really big change if you're gonna have it be the same crew who's
Yeah.
never done it before. So I'm very leery that they could do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but they don't seem to be 100% concerned with how things run. But it doesn't help that people buy it no matter what happens. But yeah, I think you need to bring someone else in.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out that they have before. Like the good looking Pokemon games, Pokemon Snap, were not made by Game Freak or Pokemon Company. So yeah, yeah, I agree. Kevin, what do you think? New
I don't
engine?
even pay that much attention to things like frame rate and how the game is running. I'm more about like the if it, looks like if the visuals are there. And I honestly, I've been saying it over and over on this podcast. I would love to see them take a mainline new entry and do it in like the Dragon Quest 2.5D or like
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler, something like that. Like just some sort of kind of scale it back a little because that's just how I prefer Pokemon to look. So I don't know if they're going to do that, but as far as do I think they're going to be I think they're as long as they keep trying to make um games that are of this caliber, I think they're always going to have performance issues because it's just, look at the track record. They haven't changed yet. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
They're not
So
being given a reason to change. The games, like Sean said, the games sell. So
Yeah.
they have not been given a reason to change.
yeah,
They're basically the message they're getting is, well, this has a choppy frame rate, but nobody seems to care.
I guess for the transition into the Pokemon game release this week, I'll just give some positivity saying that if everything on the leaks turned out to be true, it would be great. And I think all of us would welcome good Pokemon games. Like I'm not someone who's rooting against it. I'll buy the games if they're good. I just want to be realistic. Like if
Mm.
you ask me what the worst looking or performing Nintendo games have been recently, it's been Pokemon, whether it's Detective Pikachu or Scarlet and Violet. But if you ask the Nintendo fan and they said, "Well, I don't like they all look good to me." That's not true. Like some of them do look and perform better than others. With that being said, Legend ZA, we got to talk about it. So, um since I haven't played it, I'm not going to reiterate too much. I think gameplay looks fun. I think the on Switch 2 looks good, and I think the game overall looks really rough. And something that we're gonna have to face as fans is that when they send out review copies, they're only gonna send out the Switch 2 versions. They will never send out a Switch 1 review copy version. So we will never know what those games actually perform like and look like until somebody independent
Uh,
takes the time to do it.
Switch Up. Switch Up does a good job of showing both versions of games usually.
They do it, but they don't get review copies of the Switch 1 games.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Yeah,
choose
people
to do
do it.
that, but
Yes, yes. Switch Up is where I go to get the comparisons, but um they will never pre-embargo send out a Switch 1 review copy.
oh
Um
yeah, yeah.
and then we're even more left in the dust, it's already hard enough to find reviews of some games on the Nintendo service. So there's that. Um, that's all I'm gonna say since I'm gonna play it eventually, I think, and then I can give a better review. 79 currently, 55 reviews on Metacritic. It's slightly below Legends Arceus, and there were two perfect scores. I want to talk about this. VGC, Video Game Chronicle, was 5 out of 5. The Sixth Axis, uh, is a 10 out of 10, and then Metacritic turns that into 100, so it's just like 100 out of 100. But,
Mhm.
VGC, for context, recent games that have been on Switch, Galaxy 1 and 2 got a 5 out of 5, Hades 2 got a 4 out of 5, and Silk Song got a 3 out of 5. Like, Hades 4 out of 5, they said it was because of the lack of story, and I'm like, "What is going on?" Like, I
Their
haven't
Nintendo review copies are getting sent in a bag with a dollar sign on it. Like
I I don't think so. I think it's the opposite. I think Video Game Chronicle is actually legit scared of Nintendo. I think so.
okay.
I seriously do. I seriously think that, like, "Oh, what if we
Nintendo
get."
fans do tend to overreact. Like, do you remember how huge a deal it was when Brothership got like I think it was a 5.5 on IGN and people went nuts. And like I've played that game. It is a 5.5. It's not crazy good.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. But I seriously think they are either it's probably both. Nintendo fans, but also they think, Nintendo could say, "You gave us a bad review. We don't get any more you don't get, any more free copies or, pre-release copies of it." Because 'Cause I'm looking through, I'm like, "You're extremely critical on these indie developers that are small teams, but then, like,
Yeah.
when it's a AAA game that should be amazing, you're like, 'Oh, yeah. It's Pokemon.' Yeah.
The first time I noticed this happening, to tell you the truth, goes all the way back over 10 years ago, is, when Skyward Sword was released to 10 out of 10 reviews everywhere. And I remember playing Skyward Sword the first week being like, "How did this get 10 out of 10 reviews? These controls are broken." It's it's just a thing, it's Nintendo. Yeah, I think you're right. They might be afraid of pissing off Nintendo because
You know,
it's not a new problem.
yeah, they drop people all the time. Like, I know we're
Yeah.
Nintendo podcast, but they drop people left and right from Nintendo all the time. So, even we gotta
That's why
watch
they don't
out.
send us review copies because we keep it real.
Yeah. 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 So, like,
That's the
subscribe,
reason.
do all that stuff. The Sixth Axis, which is one I don't know about really, I'm trying to think of a good analogy for this, but they had the same sentiment a lot of reviewers had of it's the best available Pokemon game. And to me, I'm like, It's the best load of crap." Like, I can't think of a better analogy than that, right? Like,
Well, also, best available doesn't mean perfect score. Like, those 2 things don't have to go hand in hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
S- So that's it. Like, I digress from those points. What I want to say is, like, well, I guess I'll send it over to you guys. And if you're not a Pokemon person, you can imagine like Zelda or whatever franchise you want. But to you guys, what would make this might not be out now. What would make a perfect 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, not close to perfect, a perfect game that um is doesn't have to be like one of your favorites because a favorite game could not be a perfect game. But Kevin, to you, like, what would just be like a 10 out of 10, no questions, perfect game to you?
So I think that's gonna be hard to do on, like, a review copy, because to me, you can only see those
Mm.
things in hindsight. Like, you can see like, I think the biggest aspect of a 10 out of 10 game to me is something that still feels as fun to play 5 years later on my 10th playthrough as it did the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the biggest factor to a perfect review, which you can't get out of a review copy. So I don't know what else would I factor in there. I mean, time spent playing versus how much of it I was enjoying is a big factor too. Like if I'm spending a ton of time playing the game and I'm loving every minute of it, that definitely aids a perfect score. Um, once I start to I don't know, once I start to see the cracks, it has to be something that's you can even have some cracks in a 10 out of 10 game in my opinion. It's just it has to be something that is barely worth mentioning, like that type of thing. Like for example, I think A Link to the Past is a 10 out of 10 perfect game. I'm playing it again right now for the first time ever. I don't know why I never considered this before, but I'm playing it. I'm like, oh, it's kind of weird that you can't use the shoulder buttons to cycle through your weapons. Um, but like I've been playing that game my whole life. I just thought of that now. So things like that.
I mean, me,
Because you
it's
have
a
to pause
gameplay
that
loop.
game to change your weapon every single time. Just
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. No, it's gameplay loop for me. I mean, you can have a good story and still have terrible gameplay. You can have amazing gameplay and a terrible story. I know that's usually like the big game of the year things every year. Oh, the story and this and that. And for me, it's just a gameplay loop. And if that isn't engaging to me, where none of it feels like a chore, where you get those games where you're playing and it's like, I gotta do this freaking part, and
Or like
you know,
you're hopping between like 3 or 4 games you're playing. I think when you get those 10 out of 10 games, you forget the other games you're
yeah,
playing.
right,
That's a big
right.
sign of it too.
So I agree with Kevin. It's like it's why I kind of like how Game Ranks reviews games because they don't give a score. It's just like their impressions of spending time with it initially. So it's more of a broader like, hey, this is what we thought. So kind of the whole. I know we do it like we review the online service games, but I don't know, putting a number value on it's always been weird to me. Like, you know, GTA 6 is going to be a perfect score game no matter what anyone says. And, I could try it and be like, oh, all right, this feels like old GTA to me. Or I could play it and go, this is the same freaking thing from 15 years ago. It just looks nicer. So I think it's all just, yeah, gameplay loop. And then, like Kevin said, like, I mean, a 10 out of 10 to me is Cowabunga Collection. And none of those games are new, and they're not all great games, but I enjoy playing them. So I think that's really what it is. And specifically for Pokemon, I think they need to reset it for it to even be appealing to me, because it kind of gets exhausting where each game comes out and it's like, yep, still has problems, da da da, like still haven't done this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So what do
But
you mean by reset it though?
you need to kind of look at it fresh, address the
Okay.
issue.
You don't mean like act like the other games didn't happen type of reset.
No, but
Yeah, okay.
try and because I know ZA, like the battle system's getting praised, but they said the whole city thing just doesn't work.
Mhm.
And the way the open wild parts are divided and whatever. So it's like it doesn't give me an incentive to want to try it even because it's like, well, it's got a really good battle system. It's like, okay, well, that's only one part of the formula for Pokemon.
And
So
honestly, I feel like people are just sick of hearing the correct answer, like, because we've been saying it over and over and over and over again. And the correct answer is they don't spend enough time on these games because they have to have a new game out every year to add new characters to the card game. And like, it's like, I think they need to spend more time. And I know they don't develop these games just in a year. They have like a
no,
cycle going. But at the same time, it just doesn't seem like they're putting the same amount of time into, Pokemon Legends ZA as someone is putting into I don't know, GTA 6. Like you brought that up. There's no way they put
yeah, yeah,
that much time in.
I think that's one
So
of the I
yeah.
think that's one of the issues I think that's the big issue. I think another big issue is that uh, it's either Pokemon Company and or Nintendo together have just kind of lost touch on what consumers want. And I think Pokemon
Like,
is this special is it's especially true because a lot of people that like Pokemon are people that are our age that grew up with it, but then there's a lot of people who are just kids. And like I think the idea for Legend ZA was that this is going to be for younger players as well as new players. But I just feel like sometimes they lose touch on what younger players might want because you can give younger players difficult games. You can give younger players um you can like let them kind of explore and find their own directions sometimes um and like the fact that Legend ZA and last time I bring up the reviews on here, a perfect score to me would be like I don't know if I've actually played a perfect game in modern gaming, like a perfect score. Like even a game like Stardew Valley would be like a 9.5 to me, which is an amazing score. But I could pick out parts that I don't really appreciate or I don't really enjoy that much or I think could be better. But like this
yeah.
game, like it's like again, perfect score is like I can't even begin to think of how I can make this game better. It doesn't have voice acting. There's no there's no interiors for any of them. And when I was a kid and I played Red and Blue, going inside buildings was the coolest part. Like the fact that you could actually go inside the buildings. And then I grew up and I played games like Yakuza where you can just seamlessly go into like a convenience store. Just like there's no load screen,
Shenmue.
you just walk in and out. And I just think like, wow, that's such a cool thing to have. So I I sometimes think they don't know what the older players want and they don't know what the new players want and they're just kind of stuck. Kind of what Sean is what Sean is saying. So yeah, I just can't believe a game with no voice acting. They're like you wouldn't think that would make it better than your perfect score? Yeah,
I mean, another thing I've seen people say over and over again on the internet, and I agree with it, is like at this point, we should have at least one Pokemon game that looks like the anime. Like the technology is there. Like it should look like flawlessly, kind of like how the South Park game looks exactly like an episode of South Park. Like they could do it.
isn't that isn't that what you kind of imagined? Like,
Yeah.
I've talked about it on here, but the way I imagine Pokemon at this point, like as a kid, is so far off from what it actually is. Like I
Mhm.
imagined that at this point, I would just be hanging out. I'd be hanging out in the Pokemon world, and I'd be like, "Oh, Kevin's over there. Kevin's online." You know, I could like walk up to you, we could talk, we could go on adventures. That's how I
I remember
imagine.
when Red and Blue were out and just thinking about what a Pokemon game on the Nintendo 64 would be like. And like obviously we never got a mainline there, but like I just remember like thinking of like Ocarina of Time but with Pokemon. And even
Pokemon
that was like and that's basically what we're getting now.
Pokemon Stadium was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Being able to have a relationship with your Pokemon on Game Boy and then be able to
Yeah.
transfer them over to 3D was amazing. And also yesterday, I went through some of the older games. Honestly, between Legend ZA and Pokemon Coliseum, graphically, I don't think it's that much different. I really don't.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like the
No.
last 20 years, I don't think it's gotten like that much better. Pokemon Stadium is
Like,
better,
come on,
but
Nintendo, hear this request, please. I get that you have to pump these games out. Take one team, and put a game in the background for like 5 years that you just drop like, "Here it is. Boom, the masterpiece of the series."
that was
Like, just
that
just
was that was
one.
Legends Arceus. That was supposed to be Legends Arceus, and I think
Yeah, it
Legends
was, you're
Arceus
right.
was is the best Pokemon game. And ZA might be better. I don't know, but I have serious doubts because apparently in the leaks, um, they revealed that the entire city is just one asset. So like if you're on one side of the city, the entire city is loaded, like the other side is already loaded. And to make up for that, they just made all the exteriors the exact same. And I was watching some streams of it uh like, the windows aren't flat, you can see it in our video now, like, they aren't flat, but they all have the same reflection no matter how
Mhm.
like, it's
There
sort
was
of
a
like
what I was
counter
talking about
facing.
earlier was like a terrace. It was supposed to be like a balcony to some area you could see on a rooftop, and it was completely flat.
Yeah, yeah, and then, like, people showing, like, pop-in, based on, like,
Mhm.
which direction you're facing, but I really gotta digress. I mean, am I gonna play it? The DLC makes it really difficult, and the fact that this game never goes on sale, so I don't know.
I'll play it eventually. I was originally a day one on this one, and just nothing about it has excited me to the point of purchase. So I think what I'm going to do is just keep working my way through the ones I have not yet played on Switch, and I'll get to it when I get to it. But
Yeah.
I'm not a never, but it's not at any time soon. I'm going to play this game.
There's no mass outbreaks, there's no breedings, there's no, like, Masuda, methods for, like, egg catching, or I mean, egg hatching. So, yeah, it feels a little bit more bare bones. Let's move on. I wanted to do Sean's segment today. Can we do it? We got time for
Oh
it?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
What one?
Um,
So I thought it'd be funny to mash up horror video game franchises with Nintendo franchises.
Okay,
And
I'm
I'm
going to be
glad
horrible at this.
Harrison came up with a few because one of them I specifically couldn't even think anything of, but I'm glad he did it. So I don't know, it's mashup. It's
Mhm.
Halloween season. I just thought it'd be fun. So uh I really would love to see Luigi's Mansion slammed together with Silent Hill
Okay.
because just dropping Luigi in the vacuum in the middle of Silent Hill, and that's it. He doesn't get any more gadgets. And it's him trying to just survive.
he would
The
be so
original
scared.
Silent Hill 2 with that radio with the static, it totally feels like an EGAD thing.
He
Yeah. So
he
I
would be
just thought that would be
terrified.
hilarious.
He would be so scared. He can't even handle his own game.
So I just think that would be an amazing mix of just like, oh, you got a vacuum cleaner? Hey, go take care of Pyramid Head. Like, I just think that those just him in that world. And then I thought one that would be interesting since Resident Evil has gone so action heavy. If you did a Metroid Prime in a Resident Evil style, where you could kind of, I don't know, I guess you could just cross those two worlds together and bring the horror elements
You
deeper.
know what, though? I feel like that's something modern Resident Evil lost me on when I said I stopped playing at 4, is,
Yeah,
like, those
yeah.
first 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica 0 do involve a lot of backtracking and going to earlier areas, and I feel like that kinda goes away, so I agree, that would be really cool.
So I think that would work really well. I think a Pokemon game in the style of Dead by Daylight would be amusing as hell too. Because it would just be people pick Pokemon trainers and then there's like some horrific Pokemon stalking all of them.
Mhm.
And maybe the goal is to capture it. Like maybe you can still do that, but put a horror spin on it. And then kind of a more cute one if you just did a Little Nightmares game, but like a Kirby game. So just kind of like that cutesy horror meets super cutesy and see what you get.
Yeah.
Might be an interest, because the Kirby game that was like claymation looking. I can't remember what that was called. Was that
Animation.
there
I
was
know the
one that
one
was
that
kind of
the Epic Yarn
claymation.
was the Yarn one, I don't know about
I think it was a DS or 3, I don't remember.
oh, I don't
But
know. Oh,
but that
you know what? I know that rings a bell now that you mentioned DS, yeah.
so I think that and Little Nightmares would work together. So my favorite one, because I it just made me laugh and laugh and laugh. If you took the idea of Alien Isolation and that gameplay mechanic of a monster hunting you the whole time, and you're stuck on a ship, but it's Pikmin, and it's Pikmin hunting you. So that's the whole thing is you need to get the hell off the ship. So maybe
Shawn,
it's
play Metroid Fusion. I keep telling you. That's basically a lot of what Metroid Fusion is. You're on a ship and there's an evil entity stalking you. That's where they got the idea for Dread to have the areas with those I forget what they're called, but
oh
the
the Emmys.
robots, the Emmys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in Fusion, the storyline is like there's this other evil thing on the ship, and it's like you keep having scenes where you almost crossed paths or things like that. It's it's
Right.
it's that. Do that.
It would just be really funny because if you, it's like you're on a wrecked ship
Yeah.
and you're like, you know, it's more survival, so you can't really fight. But if you like come into a room and then stuff starts moving around and you see the little leaves like popping.
And also Olimar would look really funny scared.
So I think that would be amazing. And then Harrison came up with a better version of this, in my opinion. But uh,
Uh,
if you
so so
mashed Mario Party and Five Nights at Freddy's together,
oh,
so it's kind of like a horrific board game, but you could do it in that Five Nights at Freddy's setting. I think it would work. But I
I think
I
it would
like
be
the one that
really really
Harrison
popular.
has.
It would be extremely
So
popular, I think.
Harrison,
Yeah.
what did you come up with? Because at least one of them I could not think of anything, and I knew you would be
Yeah.
able to.
So I did three mashups and then I cheated. So I did two movies. Major. So my first one I think is my favorite. Majora's Mask, and then I'm gonna combine it with Bloodborne, and it's gonna be the
Yeah,
perfect excuse to have From Software finally develop a Zelda game. Basically, Clocktown gets taken over by the Eldritch Beings, and it's
nice.
just gonna be like Majora's Mask but darker. Imagine that.
It's like that the meme where Link's walking up to the skeleton and it turns around and stabs him. He's like, "Welcome to Dark Souls."
Yes,
So yeah, I think that would be awesome.
yes. And honestly, I'm gonna keep saying it over and over. I don't think it's that far off to consider, From Software involved in a Zelda game at some point, considering that we're getting a console exclusive, from that same company.
Well,
So, yeah.
you got to get that Elden Ring port out and working first, there, guys.
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. So we'll see how Dustbloods does. Next one, I had to do Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing and The Last of Us. So it's cute, but it's creepy, and
Yeah,
slowly there's zombies. Like they just slowly gets taken over by zombies. It could be an island, could be a town, um, but it's gonna be a little bit sad. It is. It's not gonna be like the perfect paradise that Animal Crossing usually is. Um,
I'm just picturing like you get to sneak into Tom Nook's store and not make any sound, so you can deposit the bells on your house.
I wanted to do a survival game. That's kinda
Yep.
scary, and I wanted to do a Donkey Kong game, so my idea was, Donkey Kong Country mixed with The Forest, and basically, um, you play as a survivor or group of survivors, you crash land on DK Island, but then you uncover the darker side of the Kong clan's rituals. So, I thought it'd be
Yeah, I
cool to,
like
like,
that.
have, like a dark DK backstory type of game. I was trying to think, like, could I switch it and so that you're playing as Donkey Kong as the protagonist? I don't know, but that was my idea. Survival-like game, but then, um, you know, the Kong family is no, it's very dark. Okay.
How
And
about
then
Splatoon and Doom? That's
Oh,
There we go.
Send those kids to hell.
There, there you go. Yes, exactly, exactly. You got it. Um, and then my last two were kind of cheats.
Go ahead. I gotta go. I got one after you. Go ahead.
So I got two more.
Okay.
WarioWare and Saw. So,
Which did have video games.
There you go.
I guess it's not a cheat then. So it would be so you instead it's mini games, but they're very sick, twisted mini games that Wario is recording on a live stream in order to get rich, in order to make money. So so there's that whole aspect of it. And there was this recent game. There's that game recently where you do things and then the other person records it for a live stream. I
Oh
forget
yeah, yeah.
whatever that's called. Um, and the last one was Punch Out Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Does it have a game?
We also had a game, so
Also
yeah,
had a game. Okay, we're good.
you're in line with games.
Uh,
Um.
Little Mac fighting against horror villains. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny about that is the Friday the 13th NES game kind of looks like Punch Out
It's
when you fight
yeah,
Jason. So
yeah,
there you go.
Not too far off.
I could see that. You get a duck under the chainsaw and then punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that works.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
didn't 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 didn't. That's gonna
All the
forever be in my head.
Yeah.
That was a game my neighbors owned growing up. Put that on the service. Anyway, the one that I just randomly thought of is Paper Mario gets thrown into the Book of the Dead, Necronomicon.
And I like
I don't know
that.
if that
That's
had a
really good.
movie. I mean, I don't know if that had a video game, but
That's got a few games. Yep, yep.
there you go.
No,
So
that
Paper Mario meets Evil Dead.
Paper, Paper Mario and Ash have to team up. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Bowser's a
Oh,
Deadite. Yeah, no, I like that. So nice stuff, fellas.
Yeah, I like a lot of these. I would like to see darker sides of a lot of games, and Paper Mario is kind of like as dark as it gets for like a Mario game.
yeah.
So
Advance Wars meets Saving Private Ryan.
yeah, you're really
It's really
stretching
real.
there.
I don't want to play anymore. So that brings
Oh.
us to our spotlight.
Yeah. So, spotlight game. This week we played Survival Kids. Speaking of survival kids and kids surviving horror, it was released in June of 99 in Japan and October of 99 in North America. And this time on Nintendo Therapy, we're going to just love a game because it looked like from the notes everybody was kind of surprised at how cool this game was. Um, it was one of Konami's boldest experiments in handheld survival gameplay. You play as a young castaway stranded on a desert island. You're managing hunger, thirst, fatigue, and sleep. Those are like the mechanics,
Yep.
and it's while you figure out kind of how to stay alive. It's a very ambitious concept for 1999. Like long before survival sims were such a huge genre, it features a pretty deep, like primitive crafting system
Yep.
before Minecraft forced that into every game, where you combine items to make other items. And yeah, the world it's unpredictable, just like the real world. Your food can go bad. Items that you get can have different effects on different playthroughs, which kind of adds to replayability. So something that heals you one time might poison you a different time. So that, it keeps it fresh. Multiple endings too, so a lot of different reasons to replay the game.
Yeah.
Physical copies of Survival Kids are now kind of rare and one of those games where it can sell for like $300 on eBay. So it's kind of nice that Nintendo's brought it back through these modern means, letting a new generation experience the game that, would look at a $300 price tag and be like, "Well, never mind." Like I'm not um a
This is
sequel.
definitely a game that I think when it got added, somebody who played it as a kid and thought
Yeah.
they'd never be able to again probably was like lost their mind.
Yeah,
And that's
like
awesome.
That's how I felt about Mega Man Legends for a long time, and now it's on the PlayStation Store. But yeah, a sequel, Survival Kids 2: Escape the Twin Islands, was released exclusively in Japan in 2000, and it added multiple openings, and as well as having multiple endings. And it had Game Link cable support, and eventually received a fan translation in 2015. From there, the series evolved into Lost in Blue on the DS. So it continued the series, but I think most people don't realize that Lost in Blue and Survival Kids are the same thing.
Mhm.
I'd never heard of Lost in Blue, but I'd heard of Survival Kids. Anyway, the endings. The original Survival Kids, it lets you escape by either helicopter, raft, or boat, depending on the choices you make during your gameplay. So, kind of a nice way to give you, multiple reasons to play. And now there's the 2025 reboot on the Switch, which I don't know if you guys looked into the newer version. I was so disappointed because I played this and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll get that new one. And then I looked into it. It's aimed at a much younger audience. It trades resource management and survival tension for these like timed co-op levels where you race to a finish for like a star rating. It has more in common with Overcooked than it does with this game, I would say. So um
Yep.
yeah, not gonna be a purchase for me. But
Yeah.
for its time, the original Survival Kids, ahead of the
And
curve. What did
also
you guys think?
it's also unique. I'll say my one thing on the new one is that it's a Switch 2 exclusive, which is like one of the only ones we have. Um,
Yeah.
I believe in the US it's $50, and it's just so weird that like literally by far the most popular children's game is a survival game at its core, and you couldn't figure that
Mhm.
you couldn't figure this game out. You just couldn't
Yeah.
figure it out. Like, you couldn't take, like, "Oh, yeah, Minecraft, if we get 1% of that audience, we're good." But, like, I don't understand, and it feel it's very much to what I said with Pokemon just now of, like, you don't have to, like, make these games, like, super, super simple for children to, like, for them to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Um,
It
like,
sure didn't do that when we were kids.
And
and
there the new one, I feel like they were modeling it after, like, games you'd play on a mobile phone too, is
Yeah.
that it was like the star rating at the end of each challenge is very mobile phone type of game.
And honestly, that might be what kids play now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it still looks like it's a popular genre, but like then like just make a game that's not survival kids, make something else. But yeah,
yeah.
it's just kind of weird because you could very well make a survival game that's for kids because again, we have it. It's out there. It's really popular.
Yeah.
I so I don't really get it. So I mean I'm kind of indifferent. I mean I enjoyed this game, but I would put it in a similar light as Harvest Moon, not only in the comparisons of how it looks and how it plays, but also the fact that like I just think there are better options out there for this genre at this point. Ones that have
Mhm.
just more depth to them, more replayability, a longer story. So without the nostalgia, that I might have had for this game if I played it when I was younger, I just think it's a good game. Like that's kind of it. It's not one that I really want to go back to. I think a lot of the mechanics are really cool, and um, I think yeah. I mean, it seems like it was kind of inspired by. It looks a lot like Harvest Moon for Game Boy Color. That's what it reminded me of. I try to think of because all the survival games I've played are all 3D. So I put what did I put? Don't Starve. I thought might have been a good comparison.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
a really popular survival game that's 2D, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Harvest Moon because that's a big franchise for me, and that didn't even occur to me, but I see it now. Like, even though Harvest Moon's not a survival
Yeah.
game, I
I,
totally
yeah.
get the same vibe off of this one.
Yeah, Ginger Island and Stardew looks a lot like this. It really, really
Yeah.
does. And then, of course, Stardew looks a lot like Harvest Moon. So that's what I got. And when I play Harvest Moon, I'm like, yeah, like Harvest Moon is a great game. It's just that I think there's other farming sims that are a lot better at this point. But that's not,
Yeah.
but we should give credit to those games back then because there was no comparisons. Like this game walked, other games ran, in my opinion. In my opinion. So this
Mhm.
one ranks, these two games rank in the middle for me. And honestly, I feel bad that I can't really differentiate between the two that much. The second game has virtually no media online about it, which is really unfortunate about some of these Japanese releases. There's just like no
Yeah.
initial reviews you can find on it sometimes. Um, how about you guys? Was there any like big difference between the two, or do you find one to be better? How about you guys?
Is there a
I
second
would.
game on there?
Wasn't there a second game on the service?
Is
You
No,
this
can.
is huh?
no. Okay, I
Okay,
thought there
no.
was no. Okay,
No,
never
it's
mind.
just
I thought we
the
were
Okay,
doing.
Game Boy one.
I didn't think the second one was on the service. Yeah.
I mean,
There's a
for me, this was a pleasant surprise because, like, for me in 1999, which I didn't play this game then, the Oregon Trail was the only survival game I had ever
oh
played,
shit.
Yeah.
and that was just because it was on the computer at school. But this game for me,
Sleuth.
because oh yeah, yep, okay, I remember that. That was an oddly like engaging game for having like blocks and nothing going on, but
Yeah.
I was just impressed by this came out in 1999 on a handheld. For the time, it's pretty in depth in terms of
Mhm.
what you're doing, what you're able to do. I appreciate that it's kind of dark, because like as soon as you like land, it's like, oh, the ship, because the first like opening thing is you and your dad like on deck, and then you're on the shore and the ship's destroyed and you're alone, and it's like, oh my god, what's going on? And then the randomness, because that's something, roguelites and things that I play now really have. So while I was playing it, I'm like, oh, there's food. Well, clearly I should eat this. And then it was just like, your stomach feels like it's going to explode. And oh no. So I just was very impressed with it. It's not really a game I'd go back to, but it's only really because it's not a genre I play. Like I know it's a big genre now, but I really was just overall impressed with it. So I thought it was cool, and for the person that grew up on it, that probably was beyond thrilled when it got thrown on the service. These are the type of games you need to throw on there. Are these kind of not your typical games you remember from the time that may have gotten forgotten and may have mutated into something different in their 2025 iteration. But so I think this game is really worth checking out. But it's not for everyone. But I think just as a curiosity, it's really cool. Ranking
It also
wise, I
kind
put
of
it.
reminds me of Yoda stories now that I'm looking at the
Yes,
gameplay. But
yes, it
sorry to
does
interrupt your
remind me of
ranking.
that. No, no, all good. So I put it at 72. So it's in the top 100 just because I was so impressed by it. And it's kind of, you said helicopter. I'm like, what do you build a helicopter? You must find a way to summon a helicopter.
Yeah, it rescues you. Yeah. Um, so I ranked it at 81 similarly, which at this point is the up like m- better than the middle of my list. Like I have over 160, I have 170 games almost. So it's the upper half of the list at 81. It's below Kerwin and above Super Fantasy Zone for Sega Genesis. I know this is Monday morning quarterbacking here, and the development team couldn't have possibly known this when they started. But I feel like if this game was in the first quarter of the Game Boy Advance instead of the latter half of the Game Boy Color, I feel like the people who played Advance Wars when that first came out probably would have played this on a GBA. Like it would have been a little bit bigger of a franchise, but you can never say those things for certain. But that's kind of how I wish this thing went.
Yeah.
I also had 81.
Harrison,
Yeah, I also had 81.
81.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're all at 81. Well, Shawn was 82, right? What'd you say?
70.
Oh,
72.
oh, never mind. 72. Okay. 281s and a 72. So yeah, definitely worth checking out though.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say, Harrison?
No, that's it.
Okay. All righty. Well, that is our show. Let's find out what we're playing next time.
Pokemon.
So it's a double feature next week. Two very similar games, two fighting games for the Nintendo Entertainment System, a system not known for fighting games. We've got Urban Champion and Joy Mech Fight are possibly the only two NES fighting games on the service because there's not a lot of them. So
I am intrigued.
yeah, I hear Joy Mech Fight. I saw recently there was a crowd-funded indie game that was like saying it was in the style of it. So that must have like a cult following or something. But yeah,
All right.
those two NES fighting games, Urban Champion and Joy Mech Fight. We'll see which fighting game. I mean, the NES controller's got two buttons, man. It's hard to do a fighting game. You can punch and kick.
Well, I mean, the NES Tournament Fighters is pretty good, actually. So we'll see.
Okay.
You can press A and
Yeah,
B.
and they
you can
had
press,
their Mortal Kombats and stuff, didn't they? No, that was Game Boy. Never
You can
mind.
press A and B
Game Boy.
together. You know, in Stardew, there's a combination where you have to press the A button and the Y button. Now, I always think that's kind of weird. Like I always have to do it like this. Like,
Yep.
when I'm playing on my Joy, because I can't like reach my thumb over without hitting the other buttons.
I remember there were certain Nintendo 64 games that would require you to hold the controller normal, but the L button would do something, and I would push it into my knee.
Hard times in the 90s.
Interesting controller. So anyway, thank everybody for listening and thank you for subscribing if you did. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. So not only do you not miss content that we put out, because we will randomly put out bonus episodes and spotlights and stuff like that, but also subscribe just because it helps other people find us. And if you want us to keep doing this for a long, long time, we like to know that people are listening. So follow us, please, please, please. Leave comments down below. Let us know this week what you think of the Pokemon leaks. Did it ruin the next 6 years of Pokemon for you? Or are you just even more excited than ever? Who knows? Let us know down below. And we'll see you next time for more Nintendo Therapy. Bye.